What is the saddest song you've ever heard? Cats in the Cradle just fucks me up every time. My dad is the most important person in the whole world to me, and I don't always have time to spend with him even though we live together, because we have different work schedules. He's getting up there in age and that song fucks me up. I can't stand listening to it. The night my mama died, my dad sang Elvis Can't Help Falling in Love to her in the back seat of the car on the way to the ER. She died of fully metastatized pancreatic cancer 18 days after diagnosis. Danny Boy at a friend's funeral 10 years ago. He, his sister and his GF all passed away in a house fire all in their early 20s. It was an Irish wake and a mix of grief and whiskey. Joy was something else. Barber's Adagio for strings doesn't even need lyrics to be the saddest piece of music I ever heard. How to Disappear Completely by Radiohead. Haunting instrumental, depression dripping through every line of lyrics. I'm not here. This isn't happening. You are my sunshine. Everything but the chorus is heartbreaking. Few people know anything but the chorus though. Jeff Buckley Lover, You Should Have Come Over. His dad's song To the Siren belongs on this list too. Sam Stone by John Prine. There's a hole in Daddy's arm where all the money goes. Alternatively Hello and There from the same album. Sylvia the Antlers. Actually that whole album, Hospice, breaks me, but this song in particular just leaves me in a mess every time. My 10-year-old sang Remember Me from Coco at my father's funeral. The end of that movie was already an onion cutter, but now Sugar Skulls make me ugly cry. Limousine by Brand New. It is about a flower girl at a wedding who was killed by a drunk driver. It has been a while since I heard it because it legit makes me too sad. The lyrics are incredibly dense and metaphorical, and the music mirrors the falling and rising emotion of the story. Such a strange, beautiful, and heartbreaking song. One of either me and a gun Tori Amos. A cappella with Amos singing about being raped at gunpoint based on something that actually happened to her. Margaret vs. Pauline Nico case. Story of two women, one who has all the luck and the other who doesn't. Strange Fruit by Billie Holiday. Edit thanks to all the people recommending Nina Simone's version as well as others, all chill inducing, and I love the conversations and knowledge in this thread. Thanks for the awards, too. It's not a sad song as far as lyrics go, but I used to sing Here Comes the Sun to my daughter from the time she was born, even into her teenage years. It was our song, but she committed suicide at 17 and I can't even think about it or hear the first two chords without losing it. Cherry Wine Hosier. The song is about domestic violence from the victim's point of view, which is sad in itself, but what's even sadder is that it still is a love song. The music video is devastating. I don't think I've ever cried that much watching something. Pictures of You, The Cure. It's insanely heartbreaking and soul-crushing all at the same time. Father and Son Cat Stevens. The line for You may still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not, is the single most brutal line in any song. Puff the Magic Dragon. I remember singing it frequently in school music lessons as a child, and the day I really listened to the lyrics. It's heartbreaking. The Show Must Go On by Queen. The song is basically Freddie admitting he is sick and about to die even though publicly he denied he was ill. Does anybody know what we are living for? I guess I'm learning. I must be warmer now. I'll soon be turning round the corner now. Outside the dawn is breaking, but inside in the dark I'm aching to be free. The Verve, The Drugs Don't Work. Cancer by My Chemical Romance. The counting down the days just gets me, knowing you're going to die and nothing can change that. Watching your friends and family reacting to the slow burn, but you're still here just living as dead man for the last few days of your life. For me it's more of how the song makes me feel. Nutshell, Alice in Chains. Or Not a Country Fan but Almost Home. Craig Morgan had me in tears one drunk night. Lamau. Hate Me by Blue October. Song kills me inside. It's basically the lead singer's song talking about his drug addiction struggles and getting his life back together. As an addict the song was just a huge hit for me in my heart with my own recovery struggles. The Winner Takes It All by ABBA. Yes, it's the lyrics to this song are an absolutely brutal depiction of a couple going through a divorce. Bjorn and Agnieszka claim it wasn't about their own, the sheer raw emotion in the way Agnieszka sings this song. Punch in the Gut. High Hopes by Pink Floyd. It's all sad, but the slide guitar solos are somehow sadder than lyrics ever could be. One More Light, Linkin Park. After Chester's death, the song became even more powerful. I can never listen to the song without feeling broken. Leaves from the Vine. Falling so slow, like fragile tiny shells, drifting in the foam. Little Soldier Boy comes marching home. Brave Soldier Boy comes marching home. Disappointed Face. You'll Be in My Heart, Phil Collins. It was popular when my first cat finally died, rescued as a tiny feral kitten. His unconditional love saw me through some difficult times. I still think of him and cry when I hear that song. Piano Man by Billy Joel gets me every time. All the people at the ABR with broken dreams and are stuck in a life that's far from their dreams. I always cry and they sit at the bar and put bread in my jar. And say, man, what are you doing here? They see him young and lively and they don't want him to end up like them. It's a room full of broken dreams. That is my interpretation. I'd give It's the Saddest Song I have ever heard, but Sad Day by FKA Twigs always makes me cry. Also the Outro of Self-Control by Frank Ocean. It's not the saddest song, but The Scientist by Coldplay comes up for me. My late BFF who died in 2009 loved this song. After he died, I happened to be watching a replay of Glastonbury. I missed Palladio where they were playing the song Live. I fucking broke down into a blubbering sobbing mess. The anniversary of his death is fast approaching and the song always makes me think of him. Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd. Edit if I may, I'll chime in another song which per se is not so depressing, but these two lines from it always make my heart heavy. So I'm gonna hurl myself against the wall. 'Cause I'd rather feel bad than not feel anything at all. Ain't That Pretty at All by Warren Zevon. Oh where could my baby be? The Lord took her away from me. She's gone to heaven, so I've got to be good, so I can see my baby when I leave this world. Most people think it's a Pearl Jam song, which is great, but it's Last Kiss by J. Frank Wilson and the Cavaliers. My mother used to sing me a song for me to sleep when I was young. Towards midnight my father would come home drunk and beat my mom. I will cry all night not making a sound. This was an everyday thing. To this day whenever I hear the song my eyes will start pouring tears. Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Israel Kamakavi. First heard in the show ER when Anthony Edwards' character was dying. His daughter played this for him before he passed. Next I heard it just before my grandfather passed. Concrete Angel by Martina McBride. Godzilla by Martina McBride. Whiskey Lullaby by Brad Paisley and Alison Krauss. In that order. I Can't Make You Love Me by Bonnie Raitt. Skinny Love by Bon Iver. Stable Song by Gregory Alan Isakov. REM Everybody Hurts. My high school girlfriend died on the way to pick me up on her 16th birthday. She had just gotten her driver's license. On the drive over she hit some wet leaves, lost control of the car and was killed after her car flipped off a small bridge. Anyway, I listened to this song right after I heard she had died and I can't bring myself to listen to it again. 28 years later. How to Save Life by The Fray. The backstory for the song is really sad, inspired by troubled kids who got cut off by their families due to addiction, and it also reminds me of the Scrubs episode where Dr. Cox loses 3 patients. Poke Frightened Rabbit. Wave Across a Bay Frank Turner. Frightened Rabbit are great go-to for sad songs. Honorable mentions including My Backwards Walk, Floating in the Fourth. Wave Across a Bay is a tribute by FT for Scott Hutchinson Frightened Rabbit, who sadly took his own life a couple of years ago. Edit Thank you for the gold.